Hi guys, welcome back. I know today I said that I would bring you a painting using the Golden's Core paints that I reviewed yesterday, but I have another product I can't wait to share, and then I promise I'm going to be doing paintings. I have a lot to do today. I still don't have my Christmas tree down, although in my world, we follow the 12 days of Christmas up to Epiphany, and so that's why I still have my stuff up. It wasn't because I didn't want to take it down. I really did. But anyway, I try to do the right thing here in my neighborhood. So anyhow, I wanted to show you this product, and it is so flipping awesome. I've been wanting these for a while, and I'm really excited to use them this summer for urban sketching. But these are the Graphitint pencils by Derwent. Now, you've heard of the water-soluble graphite, and I'm not sure if I've done a review on those before, but I have used water-soluble graphite. I think I did them in one of my subscription boxes that I no longer receive. But these are colored pencils, and the color that they have in them is not just faint color. You can get some really super vibrant color with these pencils. So I got the set of 24, and what it says about these pencils here, it just says, use dry. Derwent Graphitint provides just a hint of color, but adding water transforms the tint into rich, vibrant shades, available in 24 color tints. Oh, I thought they had bigger boxes. Maybe this box is available in 24 color tints, but I think they mean they're available in 24 tints. They range from soft grays, blues, and greens to glowing russets, plums, and browns. Derwent's Graphitint is ideal for landscapes, animal studies, and portraits, which is why I wanted them, because I thought they'd be great for my landscapes. But since I'm going to be getting into portraits a little more this year, I think that'll be good too. It says techniques: use a wetted paintbrush to transform subtle graphite tones into vibrant color, just like a watercolor pencil. Simply use dry on dry paper to create graphite drawings with a hint of color. And it does show a graphite drawing here where the water was not used. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I wrote out all the colors, but I realized I did it on cold press paper, and I think I'm going to need to do it on hot press. So if that's the case, I will just put them next to it. Maybe I'll do both and you can see the difference. That might work better. So let's go ahead and let me just set this under here. And if you do get these, you know what you could do. Some of you have been saying, oh, I wish I would have saved my tins to do a DIY watercolor palette. I used my 24 set of Inktense, my first set of Inktense pencils, to make my palette with, and this is the same size. It's the same exact tin. So you could do it with that if you wanted to, and then just get a pencil box for your pencils. But just a thought. Now, when I use watercolor pencils, I always find it's best to use like a synthetic brush. I'm just going to grab a little flat here. I'm going to use my Cosmotop Spin by Da Vinci. It is a number 10, which is like it looks like just about a 1/2 inch. Could be a little less. Might be 3/8. It's a number 10, whatever that means. I hate when they put flats in numbers like that rather than measurements. I think it's easier to have a measurement. I'm just cleaning my brush because this one looked dirty too. You know what happens, and I'm hopeful that it'll stop now, is that when I'm using my brushes and I set them down on a tabletop and I finish a painting and I go off to do something and I come back later and then I put my brushes away thinking they're clean, and that's how they end up dirty. So now for these pencils, it doesn't require much water at all. I'm just using a little shot glass. That's all this is. I use it for my inks. I'm going to grab myself a paper towel to wipe my brush on, a clean paper towel. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So this first color, these are numbered 1 through 24, so maybe that is all they carry, are 24 shades. I'm just going to go ahead and put the first one down. And I'm going to run it off the edge over here too, so we can see the difference. It is much smoother. Whoops, I had a drop of water on there. It is much smoother on the hot press paper, but we'll start by putting it on this one. I've got a little too much water. You really need to dab that water off a little bit. Just get a little bit, wipe it off on your cup, maybe dab it a little drop on a paper towel, and then you get better control, better color. And I do like the way it looks on the hot press paper. Much nicer. Now the second one, that one is called Port. The second one is called Juniper. It's a beautiful color. These are really strong pigments. I'm not pressing hard when I'm drawing with them, and you can see a little bit of a granular effect in them. Let me zoom in. I gotta remember, you guys scream at me if you're off camera here. Here, let me move this way so that you can see. Oh, that helped too with the brightness, I think. Good to know. Okay, so that's the first two colors. Then I have number 3, which is Aubergine. Love that color, but this definitely looks different. I always thought of Aubergine as like a more of a reddish, like that juniper color, but they're very similar. And now that I've got this cold press figured out a little bit, I'm getting better coverage with the cold press. Looks like it's just slightly darker in value. Then number 4 is the dark indigo. I love me some indigo. I want to do a picture with these too, so I'm just going to go through these really quick. Let me just color a few of them in at a time. It'll go much faster, and we'll just stick with the cold press. Dark indigo. A little too much water again. These colors are just so vibrant. Once I lose some of the water on my brush, it's much easier to get the vibrancy of the color. See how different that is? Wow. This one is called Shadow, number 5. I'm not sure what the cost was on these. They weren't very expensive. 20 something, I think, maybe 23. I'll post that. With the cold press, the one thing I am noticing, I'm sorry, I did go off screen. See, I do that. The one thing I noticed was, see, you can get some of a bit of a granular effect left behind with the undiluted pigment, and that's one thing that's hard with cold press paper. Although it does leave a cool effect, you might want more of a smooth effect given with these on hot press paper. So this next one is Slate Green. That's pretty. You know, I'll apologize for yesterday's video. I confused a few people with my talk on the ASTM thing, and I kept saying ATSM. I was so tired, and like I said, I fell asleep right in the middle of doing my darn video, so I apologize for that. And one of the things I said at the end, or I wrote at the end, was about the pigments being single pigment colors. Some colors, you know, like your secondary, tertiary colors, can be made with more than one pigment. That makes it more difficult for mixing colors with other colors that you have in your palette. You can end up with mud with some colors, and so using the single pigments makes it nice with those core watercolors. I believe there were only 4 out of the 24 that had multiple pigments in them, and it makes it great for those of you starting out and you want to learn how to mix colors together. So that's what I was saying yesterday. Somebody went on with me about pigments and why light fastness isn't as important as pigment and this and that. Those are totally separate issues. And I didn't want to get into all that in that video. I wanted to keep it simple. And if you really, really want to get into pigmentation, the pigments and how they're made and how each pigment works, a perfect person to watch here on YouTube is called The Spin Doctor. He's who I watch, and I've learned a ton of information from him. He's great. He's a chemist or scientist of some sort, and he knows the stuff inside and out, and he's able to explain it in terms that are very simple to understand. And I may do some videos on that in the future, but I don't think that that's necessary on this channel at this point. So that's what I told the person that was commenting to me about it. It's not to say that somebody's wrong or someone's right. I just feel that the ASTM standards are set very stringently, and they do have high quality testing for pigments, and that's why I trust those standards for light fastness. And I think if you're not a chemistry professor or someone who's interested in learning about pigments, and not every artist is, they just want to pick up their paints and have fun. If you understand light fastness, which is very simple to understand, then knowing what the light fastness is on your colors will help you tremendously in making educated choices. Now, if you want to go further than that with pigments, then by all means do it. I understand a lot of it. There's a lot that I need to learn, but I'm not a fifth year chemistry major or anything like that, although I had a lot of it in my degree. I will get into some of the pigments later on, but not at this point. So I hope that helps others to understand that, and they're not upset with me for it, but that's just how I feel. This next color, that one was green gray. This next color is called Meadow. Oh, is that pretty? It reminds me of a green gold color and is beautifully pigmented. Derwent, I still stand behind Derwent and their pencils, especially their water-soluble pencils. They're just beautiful. I have a set of their watercolor pencils. I still want to get the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils. Those are supposed to be very excellent as well, and I don't have them yet. But I don't use a lot of pencils. I use more watercolor than I use pencils, so that's why I have not bought them. I've got so many different brands, but this one is called Ivy, and it's very similar to the other one. It's just taken down a notch in value, and it's a little deeper in color. Another green. The next one is Sage, and it's funny when you look at these colors, they look so different on paper than they do once wet. Sage is a brown, like a tan color, or a deep sand dirt color. Look at that. Oh. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Okay, and the next color is Chestnut, which is number 13. Some of you may already have these, and I'm a little slow on the purchasing department. but I'm going to be doing some drawings with these as well, so we can see how I do. And you know, you can mix, you know, with your media, you can mix it up. Put some watercolor down. This is Russet, number 14. And then maybe take your Graphitint pencils. Graphitint pencils. Say that 3 times fast. I can't today. And you can put this over. Or like now that we're getting into drawing people. And I'm going to be adding more of those into my sketches. Maybe I'll use the Graphitint pencils over my watercolor. We'll just see how that goes. I keep dipping into my dirty bowl there instead of my clean cup. This one is called Cool Brown, and it is a cooler color, hence the name. Absolutely gorgeous. And see, you don't need a lot of water with these. On the next color, I'll start with the hot press and go to the cold press, and we'll see what happens. Oops, I did it again. Turn this around. This next one is Cocoa. I think it's easier to lay more pigment down on the cold pressed paper because of its roughness. It's picked up in the tooth of the paper. Now, this one is Autumn Brown, which is a red color. Oh, it's beautiful. Are we on camera? No. There we go. And since I was falling asleep yesterday in my video, I know I did confuse many of you, and I kept saying ATSM instead of ASTM, and I said standard once instead of society. It's American Society for Testing and Materials, and companies will use them because they are an independent testing facility that takes their pigments and tests everything for them independently so that the companies are kept by honest standards, which is why I am so for the ASTM ratings. Those that don't use ASTM ratings, and there's many countries who do use ASTM ratings, and it'll say complies by this or that. They may change their numbers around but still say they're ASTM rated, but then they switch the numbers. That can get confusing as well. As long as you know that they're ASTM rated, you can trust that rating. If it is a manufacturer's rating and it doesn't say ASTM on their rating, that means that it is not ASTM standard, and it is any standard that that company chooses to say. And they can, that way they're not held as accountable for their testing. They can be underhanded a little bit. Not to say that they are. I'm not accusing anybody of that. I'm just saying that it's a lot easier. And the ASTM ratings go from 1 to 3, 1 being excellent, 3 being poor, or they're not going to be very light fast, and you'd want to not use those colors as much or take them out of your palettes or whatever. But I always suggest that if you're learning it, to make yourself a chart with your colors, post it on a wall or stick it in your palette that shows the pigment number next to the color and the ASTM rating on it. Give it a 1, 2, or a 3 so that you know what that rating is, and that way when you are working on artwork that you want to be very careful for light fastness on, you know what their ratings are. This color here was Storm, which is number 18. It's kind of a pinkish gray. Then this is a warm gray, number 19, and here I'm doing Midnight Black. And I am not saying any watercolor is bad watercolor. I mean, some people buy those like these koi watercolors by Sakura. They're very opaque watercolors. I made this card a few years ago, and the colors have held up pretty well, although they have not been in light. They not being exposed to light, they haven't changed much, if at all. In darkness, which some will. It's a really awesome palette, but the colors are too opaque for my liking. They are an Asian company, and they use a lot of opaque colors. Opaque colors aren't bad. It's just US and Europe tend to use more transparent colors. It's kind of our cultural thing, and theirs is more opaque. Doesn't make it any less good, it just makes it different. This next one is Mountain Gray. Sorry, I'm mixing some of those things up into this video. I just wanted to clarify a few things from yesterday. And some were asking me about the core watercolors versus M. Graham or versus Lucas. Now, M. Graham is considered a very good watercolor. I do not own them. I do want to one day own them, but I'm a Daniel Smith girl. I always will be. That's my watercolor of choice, and it's basically my first artist watercolor and what I learned all my techniques on, so it's very easy for me to stick with. Because I know what mixes with what, and I can just go dip right into my palette without thought. But with some other watercolors, their pigments are a little bit different, and they may not mix the same, so I tend to avoid them. That's just out of habit. That was Mountain Gray. And like some people, many people like Winsor Newton. I don't, although I don't mind their tube colors, I do not like their pans because they're hard. They're rock hard, and when you reconstitute them, it takes forever for them to reconstitute. At least for me. I'm used to things reconstituting with one squirt of the water on my Daniel Smith, and they're ready to go. But that was Cloud Gray. This one here, this was Mountain Gray. So it's just my preference. Doesn't mean that your preference is wrong or bad. It's just my preference. There's a lot of excellent choices out there, which is nice. Everybody can have what they like. So I suggest, don't run out and buy a full set of 24 or 36 of colors. Buy 2 tubes of one brand and 2 tubes of another brand and compare them and see which one you like better. Get a 5 ml tube, not a 15 ml. And if you don't like it, then you're not in for much, Shop around, shop sales, that kind of thing. And you might find that your favorite colors are something I don't use. Lucas is another one. It's another European brand, and a lot of people swear by those. But when I looked at their ASTM ratings, they're not excellent. They're good, but they're not excellent. And Daniel Smith is mostly excellent, and that's why I stick with them. I trust them. So It's not to say I'm not going to try Lukas colors. I think I will try Lukas colors, but I'll still go back to my Daniel Smiths. So anyway, here are all the Graphitint colors, all 24. You can see them on hot press versus cold press paper. And this is all of them. If I could get them all in the photo, it's kind of hard. This is a long piece of paper. Let's turn it this way. There we go. And they're beautiful. But I mean, look at the difference from hot press to cold press. Some of the cold press may look more vibrant because it scratched more pigment out on the tooth of the paper. But for smoothness, the hot press is just beautiful. The Nature's Field Sketchbook and the field book, and we'll see which ones have good tooth for this. So maybe I'll do some color mixing on here and see what we can find out with color mixing. This is just, I think I used Ocean Blue and number 6, Steel Blue. This has a little tooth, but this is the field book. And although it has some tooth in the paper, it's not bad. Kind of overtook that one color. Let me take, let's see, I'm going to try this red, whatever this is, autumn brown. No, I can't use that color. How about I will use number 1, Port, and I'm going to use number 4, Dark Indigo, and let's see if we can make some sort of a purple in the middle. I'm not sure how this will work. We'll see. Gonna bring it down into here. I'm gonna take this one. Ooh, it's already turning purple. So these colors mix well. How about we take a... There is no yellow in this. Isn't that interesting? We've got greens but no yellows. They don't have a yellow. That's interesting. So I'm going to take Steel Blue, and I'm going to take this Meadow. We're going to see what kind of green we can come up with. Too much water again. This brush holds more water than I expected. This might not be the best brush for this kind of a thing. I'm going to mix these. I'm going to mix them together and next to each other. Here's Ocean Blue, and we'll use the Meadow again over here and here, so we can see how well they mix. The Ocean Blue, this is the Meadow, and then clean my brush. Here they are together. So mixing colors works very well with this. Now you can still see though that there's still some grain left behind in this. You can go back and clean it up and smooth it out. Could be that I'm just using too much pigment on the paper because I tend to get heavy-handed with that. Whoops, blended those together. I can smooth it out. But let's go to the nature sketchbook and see how smooth this paper is in comparison. This actually looks like the nature sketch might have, no, maybe not. It doesn't have more tooth. I'm going to use the back of the sheet here. And I'm going to mix a couple colors here. Now this is definitely smoother. Autumn brown and so I got autumn brown and I want cool gray, I think. And you can change your colors to strengthen, like a green to more of a blue or more of a yellow, depending on how much color you lay. The nature sketchbook is perfect for this pencil. So good. I'm glad I don't have to go out and buy another brand of book. And that's the two mixed together. That red is a stronger pigment though. Let's do, here's a slate green. And shadow, which is a blue color. See how much darker that makes that. We'll go with the blue, the shadow. Here's the green. Whatever that was called. Slate green. And then both of them together. Now I dab with water, wipe on the edge of the cup, and then I dab it on my paper towel. So with everything I do, I go like this, wipe, dab, and then color. That's how I'm doing it. And that works out great. Then you don't get too much water. If you get too much water, it just dilutes it. It swims all over the place. Here's warm gray and storm. So I dip, do this, dab it. Just leave enough water on there to spread your pigment. These are beautiful. I can't wait to use them in a picture. So why don't I do that now that I'm getting a hang of these. Okay, I did a little landscape and I wasn't happy with it, so I'm just going to try drawing something else here, like a little bit of an ostrich or something. And I think I want to take just a light, take the cloud gray just to get the drawing down a little bit. I'm just going to put in some eyes. I'm going to change the color on this, but I just want to get the drawing down because I'm not sure. might not be long enough. I wonder if I can erase this. A little bit. There, that's better, I think. And then the head will come up like that. Oops. Ah, I keep getting these comments popping up on my channel and I can't see my photo. That's okay. I love to see them, and these eyes are not far enough apart. That's part of my problem too. I like that I can erase this a little bit. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Now, I want to take just some really wild colors. Let's see. I want some of that port. And maybe some aubergine over here. Just going to kind of mix color in here. We're going to see what happens. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. What is this? This is Storm. Storm. Now, I think I want something like on the browner side. Maybe cool brown. What's this brown? Sage. Sage will work. Especially if it's mixed in with the other color. And I want some of that aubergine to come off of here. And I'm going to do some more over here. Guys, I have no idea if this is going to come out. If it doesn't come out, it's not going to make it on the video. Unless I get brave. I'm just mixing colors together here now. Maybe some of this pretty light color. And I want some blue. And I'll make that come off like that. And maybe a little over here. I had like a pinker color or something. This port will have to do. Is this port? Yeah. We shall see. I'm gonna try this down here first and see how I'm doing. My water's starting to get a little bit dirty here. Maybe it will work. We will see. Rinsing every now and then just to get that color cleaned off. If I zoom out so you can see what I'm doing with my hand, then you can't see what I'm painting. So I'm going to put this here and hopefully I'll be able to keep it drier. It's kind of in my way though. You can still kind of see it. Got a little bit of that green in there. And I'm going to try to mix these, but I think if they've set up, you're kind of stuck with what you got. That was still wet enough I could mix it together. And maybe if I try, I'm going to try a little bit of this. Let's see how it works when these are getting a little dull. But I'm going to try to add some color right onto my brush. Oh yeah, that works good. Let's see about the port. That one might. I find that it's nice to build the color up with these. I did a little landscape on the other page and I decided it looked a little too blah, so I didn't post it. I'll show it to you, but this might not make it either, so it might be all for nothing. But here's the landscape I was working on. I was just doing it in my head, and that's what I did with the pencils. It was very simple to do, but that's how vibrant you can get them. And it was fun doing the sky, actually. I really enjoyed that. So let's move on with this, though. Okay, I want to get the black for the eyes. I'm going to leave a little bit of white. And hopefully that'll be plenty. I want to get my eyes in line here. I have that in the wrong spot. And let's see, put a little brown around it maybe. Bring some life into it. And that's about it right now. I got a small round. This one is, oh, this is that Russian one, and number 2 from my Doodle and Sketch box that I got. It's really kind of neat to activate this, but the one thing I'm finding is that it's very easy to push the pigment away from, you know, if you want, it's hard to keep it still, and I think that's the graphite. Watch when I'm doing this eye. Let me zoom in here so you can really see it. You can kind of see how as I'm painting it, once I activate it, oops, that's still a little wet, it starts to push. See how I'm pushing that away? The graphite or something in it doesn't want to sit still, so I just kind of push it back. I don't completely touch down on the paper, and that seems to help it a little bit. And some pigments are worse than others. I've noticed that black really wants to do its own thing. So it's kind of interesting. Okay, now I'm going to use, is this chestnut? Yes, chestnut on this beak. Actually, I need to put in the little nose holes though, so I know where everything goes here. This is gonna go right here. And this one is kind of right here. Okay, and then with the chestnut, I'm going to keep this kind of pale. See what happens. And then I want to add something a little brighter, maybe the red. The chestnut is pretty bright. Or the autumn brown. Is this autumn brown? Yeah, autumn brown. I'll just put this up here a little bit. And I want to give it some kind of bend in this here, like that. And a little more black. If I can find it, it's in my hand. Duh. Okay. Then maybe some cocoa or some cool brown. Cocoa it is. It's the first one. Nope, russet. What's russet? Let's see. Russet. It's pretty close to cocoa, so I'm going to use that one. For the bottom lip. And listen to my dog. He's such a silly goose. He gets his little toys in his mouth. I got too much water on here. I'm trying to dab up the edge. Gets his little toys in his mouth, and then he starts to cry. And he will chew them and chew them and chew them and chew them. His little lovies, you know, his stuffed animals. He's so funny. It's like an anxiety thing with Boston Terriers, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. That looks black. I don't remember putting black there. No, it isn't black. I want that to fade out. I'm going to grab my flat brush again here, and I just want this to kind of fade down into the lower lip a little bit. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. The black, it gets a little faded, it seems. I might have to go back in again, but that's okay. Now I want to take some of my bright, pretty meadow color. And I'm going to add a little bit of that. I'm going to do some over here. And I want some up here. Some blue. Some of my purple aubergine, whatever that is. There it is. More blue, I think. Let's see. A little bit down here. That juniper color. I'm going to move this water off again so I have my left hand back. Silence. Whoops. He's coming to life, but I need a little more fluff on top. I can bring it out more as time, as it dries, you know what I mean? And this needs to come out a little more, his face. Where's my, this part needs to come out a little more. More like a platypus kind of look. Okay, let's see. Maybe a little more brown under here. I kind of like the brown circling the eyes. And then he's going to need eyelashes too. Ooh, indigo. Indigo eyelashes. That'd be pretty, wouldn't it? Like that. Let's see how that works. Let's give it some water, shall we? See what happens here. Okay, so just gonna add some water now. I'm using my cat's tongue, my Princeton cat's tongue. It's a heritage brush, another synthetic. Sticking with synthetics is best with these, like I said. You hear my son back there? Baby talking to his dog. Shh. He must have closed his door. Realized I'm recording. And I'm just right now dragging the green. Trying to drag it up. I want it to mix with the other colors, so I'm gonna go into the blue because it'll make it a little green there. And the cat's tongue is allowing me to give a more feathered look too. I saw a colorful ostrich line and it was so beautiful, but I hope somebody doesn't think I'm trying to copy their painting. I'm just doing this in my sketchbook. Nobody's going to be getting it, and I won't receive any money for it. Just wanted to do something colorful like that, since I got the colorful pencils, you know? Well, this kind of worked, didn't it? Okay, now these eyelashes I'm doing separately. I want to get some more wispiness to them though, if I can. Don't know. Sorry, my hand's probably in the way here. It's the only way I can do these eyelashes. Oops, that way, there we go. I'm zoomed in and I'm trying to remember. That is the hardest thing, and I noticed it with other YouTubers. They have the same problem. When you're working on artwork, it's hard to watch a camera at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and give a little more black to this, but I do kind of like the way the eyes are looking. I mean, if you look at that, they kind of look like they're reflecting, you know, like they're deep because I moved that pigment around. So what I'm going to do, that's Yeah, that's midnight black. I'm just gonna put the black in those darkest areas there because it looks so cool. This one has it underneath, and then there's a little right around here. There. And I'm gonna take this cat's tongue again. I'm gonna get it very dry. Dab it off. Dab it again. This black is really hard to work with. See, it just lightened it up again. Darn it. This one's working. You know what I think I need to do is I need to put it right on the brush. Which one is it? This one. So you can't look at these tips because they have such a dull look. You really got to look at the end if you can't see the name. I'm pushing it around again. There, I think I got it. I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm saying to myself, Sharon, don't touch it anymore. And then look at me, I touch it some more. Okay, and then I want to take that brown again and go around this area a little bit more. So it looks like a pupil and an iris. I'm shaking. I've had 2 cups of tea tonight, which doesn't help with the sleeping problems I have. I was in so much pain last night, but that's what I get. If I didn't have these problems, I'd be working, and then I wouldn't be able to do all this fun art either. Okay, now I need to fix the beak up because this beak looks like cramp. I need cool brown. Cool brown is what I really want. Where's cool brown? There it is. And then, what did they have on the inside? Autumn brown, maybe. No, the autumn brown was up here. I must have dragged some of it down. Here it is. So let's see what that does. I'll go back and put the nostrils back in. Now it's coming around, and now for the bottom part, I'm just gonna add some of this to my brush again. This is the chestnut. And then I'm going to wet this, clean off my brush, and I'm just going to kind of drag that color down if it'll let me at all. It might have dried too fast because I put it on with the brush. Oh, there it goes. And I'm going to use a little bit of white to cream it up a bit. Let's see. I've never used the white, so. Ooh, it's pretty white. Look at my brush. Let's see what happens here. Oh, look at that. This white is fantastic. Who knew? Who knew? Sorry, I'm getting a little flap happy. I'm tired. Okie doke. And I need to put some black back on here. I'm going to go down to the neck and brighten that up a bit too. Some companies will say don't do this to your pencils, but with watercolor pencils anyway. They say don't do it. Maybe Inktense was one. I do it all the time. I've never had a problem. That was easier to lay the black down. There. Then I'm gonna just kind of make his lip a little dark. He's smiling. Oh, I think he's turning out pretty good, if I must say so myself. Nobody else is saying it to me right now, so. I want to darken this up. Diesel, it's okay, baby. My water again. And some blue, some blue. Oh, I'm sorry. Zoom out. I'm just gonna put this up here like this. You can watch the neck. I'm so sorry. I was just coloring this all in again. I'm gonna start with the lightest color. And then I'm just gonna flip out to feather it out a little bit. Dab. It's okay, baby. He wants to play with Cerberus, and Cerberus is behind closed doors. They're finally getting to love each other. Oh my God, you should have seen me clipping my dog's nails today. Diesel needed his nails clipped. I gave him a bath yesterday, and everybody hates to clip his nails. And his nails aren't that hard to clip because most of them are white, but some of them have turned black. They change color. And when they turn black, it gets a little scary because you don't know where that vein is, right? So I was clipping his nails today. Cerberus was so worried about Diesel, and he came up and he started licking his face and trying to make sure he was okay because here I was hurting him. It was funny. And Diesel doesn't fight it. He just lays there nice and still. He's great. You couldn't ask for anything better. But they're starting to love each other, and now he's going to be moving out in a couple weeks. And that is going to be a hard transition for my little baby, who in the beginning, or up until the other day, hated having him here. And now they're like buddies. They've finally gotten used to each other. It's like, okay, you're going to live here forever now, I guess. I need to flip that out a little more. I don't know if I can do that with this or not. There we go. That worked. And let's see, I need some of that port and aubergine. Here's some of the aubergine. Either that or juniper. That one's aubergine. Those two colors are purple. Normally I say go away and wisp out, but I was having trouble with that angle. My hand. Righties probably have trouble in the other direction. Oh, I might add some splatters. That could be cool too. I just splattered on there and it made me think of it. Yeah, that wasn't very dark, so I'm gonna use a little bit more water. This one. is not right either. I want this to kind of come up. That and out like that. Oh, I'm not going to even use water on that, I think. Go up like that and out like that. I like the scraggly look. Same with the blue. Are off frame again. Darn it. It's a problem with zooming in. And if I'm so far away, then you can't see exactly what I'm doing either. Then I'm going to take that purple aubergine right here. It needs a little more color. There we go. Now I'm going to take that. This is still a little wet, so it's probably going to make dark lines, but that's okay. That'll give it a furrier, featherier look. My poor doggy. He's not being tortured, I promise you guys. Okay, so this is what I have. This is my little ostrich made with Graphitint pencils, and it's not really looking so ostrich-like. The eyes should have come way out. Actually, I could probably make them come out a little further by taking the brown that helps a little bit, making his eye a little bigger. But really, his eyes should have been spread out a little further. That's okay. I am so looking forward to doing landscapes with this. I went back a few times and laid color in and, you know, made the cools come back like you would in a landscape. The sky was a lot of fun. I left white areas, and as you can see, if I go way close, you can see that after I added the blue, then I extended some of the blue, came right up into here. So you can see exactly how I brought it into the clouds here and there. And that helped to make the sky look a little more natural. And then with the mountains, I just put in one color, mountain gray or something like that. Yeah, mountain gray. And then I went back with the slate color or something and just started adding lines. And then I stopped. I didn't even finish it because I thought, ugh, this looks awful. So didn't finish it. But anyway, so that is it. And I think this came out a little bit better. Oh, I know what I wanted to do to this, though. I wanted to add some splatters. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to take my... Actually, should I take a fan brush? I'm going to try a fan brush, this fan brush, and see what it'll do if I put different colors all over this thing. Or maybe I can just go like this. Oh, that worked! Did you see that? It worked really well. Oh my gosh, it worked. I don't know if you can see the splatters there. I'm going to do a darker color too. Hang on. That worked out super, super well. Okay, now I'm going to rinse that. Let me get some blue. You'll really see it with the blue, and I'm going to push you back out a little bit here. Dip into this and keep it nice and wet. I didn't put it on in the paper towel at all. And then I just went like this, and I'm running it over the lead, and it's splattering all over. And now, ooh, that made some cool lines too. That was cool. Watch this. I could probably paint feathers, yep. Very cool. See, it makes feathery lines. That's cool. Okay, now I'm going to take I'm having fun now. I'm going to take this aubergine color, and I'm going to get that wet. First, I'm going to get a lot on there, juice it up good, and then I'm going to spray. Needs more though. My yellow came out better. I think it's because I had a wetter brush. There we go. And that is it. Maybe a little bit of red. I can't stop now, you guys. I can't stop. I can't stop. Where's my port? Port. There it is. That's the reddest red I have. Get that juicy wet, and then just go. Sound effects. There. They're little splatters, but they are splatters. So, here we are, close up. You can see the splatters. There's the splatters all over the place. Pretty cool. I'm kind of liking these things. I think I'll get some use out of these. They're really a lot of fun, and I love the subtlety to the colors. They're just kind of, they're just really cool colors. I really, really like them. So that is it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you didn't, you can give me a thumbs down. It won't hurt me. But if you're giving me a thumbs down, I'd really love to know what you'd like me to do differently so that I can try to please more people. But if you liked it, just leave me a comment, let me know. And if you have any other video ideas that won't cost me a fortune, let me know that too. So that's it for tonight, and I will get back to these core colors, I promise. Tomorrow I'm going to try and do a painting with those. So everybody have a great night. I will see you tomorrow, and as always, be kind to people. Bye-bye.